Soviet flags are odd. They're just the USSR's flag, but they add something that makes them a lot worse. Most of them just add a blue or green strip across the flag and random places. Some like Russia, it looks okay, but for the most part, they just look really boring. And after the fall of the USSR, the states that made up the former republic changed their flag, which was a good decision, not only because it had Soviet symbolism, which basically all of the states hated by that point, but the bigger of the two crimes, they were just really bad looking. So we're going to compare them on a scale of 1 to 10 to see how much they've improved since the fall of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, not including Karelia because it's just a region of Russia now. Armenia is one of the few nations in the Soviet Union in which I would say it has a decent flag. It's not good, but unlike most of the other Soviet flags, it looks fine. However, the modern Armenian flag is a significant improvement. The colors all work nicely together, and it is still distinct enough to stand out amongst other tricolors. Easily a significant improvement. I think Azerbaijan's Soviet flag is fine. It could be better, but it could be so much worse. However, I think the modern Azerbaijanian flag is genuinely amazing. Distinct colors and symbolism make it stand out and genuinely blended together to make one of the most amazing looking flags. It's an amazing improvement over its old Soviet era flag. Belarus's modern flag has literally two differences from its Soviet flag. One is the obvious hammer and sickle is different, and the pattern on the hoist side is also a little different. However, the flag does look very nice and didn't need too much to improve, and I still think it's probably the best Soviet flag. Now I'm going to be straight up with this one. Estonia has one of the best Soviet flags. A distinct and recognizable flag that doesn't make it blend together with every other state ever. And I would say its modern flag is significantly better. I love simple flags, and Estonia's is such a nice one. All the colors just blend together so well that even if Estonia has, in my opinion, one of the best Soviet flags, its modern flag is just so much better, in my opinion. I love Georgia's Soviet flag so much. It's so silly looking, but it's so amazing. It definitely crosses the Maryland point of being so ugly. It's amazing. However, I will recognize its modern flag is just so good. It's one of the best simple flags that has so much nice imagery on it. I love it to death. Even if its old flag definitely looks very silly and goofy, I love it to death. Kazakhstan's Soviet flag sucks really bad. It's so boring, it makes me almost angry. One of the worst, not even close, especially compared to her modern, beautiful flag. The golden eagle with the beautiful sun pattern and the carpet pattern on the bright blue make it look so nice. It's so much better than its Soviet flag. A 10 out of 10, such an improvement. Kyrgyzstan is the first case in which its Soviet era flag is not leagues behind its modern flag, but it's still definitely worse than its modern flag. Her Soviet flag is actually decently unique, albeit still boring, but compared to the rest is pretty decent. But her modern flag is very simple and beautiful and is extremely distinct compared to her Soviet flag, which is just partially distinct, but still not the mile-long lead like Kazakhstan. Latvia's Soviet flag is amazing. I think the wave pattern is done much better on her flag than her sister state of Estonia. However, Latvia's modern flag is so nice. I love the dark colors with the thin white line. It's very simple, very nice looking. However, both flags are amazing. Lithuania is a bit of an odd case where I think her Soviet flag is a bit boring, kind of and I think her modern flag is a bit boring and kind of I know I said I like simple flags, but I think hers is not the best. I don't personally like how the colors blend. However, I will recognize the distinctness in using the not basic European colors. For that, I think it is better than the Soviet flag. I'm going to be honest, I don't think the modern Moldovan flag's that great. Now, I think the Soviet flag is a lot worse. It's the same boring color strip in a random place that makes it look bad, but her modern flag isn't the best. I still think it's a massive step up in quality, but I do think it could be better. Now, Russia's case is a bit odd. It has the same old boring blue strip, but they add it vertically, which for some reason actually makes it look very nice, and for some reason, no other flag did. I don't know why no one else did this, but it's not really important. It actually makes their Soviet flag look pretty decent. However, I do think their modern flag is very simple, beautiful, and nice looking. However, her Soviet flag actually put up a bit of a fight in this case. Tajikistan's Soviet flag is just Lithuania's flag if you were to have flipped the colors, and it makes it look pretty bad. And I like Tajikistan's modern flag. It looks very nice, especially compared to this mess of a flag. Turkmenistan is a good reminder that we're basing this off of how they look and not about their history and symbolism. Because obviously, if they're doing that, every single Soviet flag would be beaten 10 out of 10 by their modern flags because they're actually allowed to represent their history and symbolism in good ways. I don't really have a whole lot to say about either of the flags. I don't think their modern flag is great, but I think their Soviet flag is a whole lot worse. I have nothing new to say about Ukraine's Soviet flag. It's the worst in the Union, and her modern flag is simple and looks nice. I have nothing new to say that I haven't already said about Kazakhstan's. Uzbekistan is in the same boat as Turkmenistan. I'm not the biggest fan of either of the flags, however, I will give points for distinction on her Soviet flag for having thin white lines on top and below the blue bar. It makes it a little distinct, and also things they carried over into their modern flag with the thin red strips between the colors. One feature that I'm actually a big fan on the Uzbek flag. And that, my friends, is all of the Soviet flags. To no one's shock, all of the modern flags are significantly better. Anyways, if you liked the video, please consider subscribing. Thanks.